Hey, what's up guys? This is Durian Productions. It has been a long time. We did not see any ThinkPad laptops. Today, we want to open box a brand new ThinkPad E14 housing the R5-4600U processor, which is the latest version from AMD. The current configuration houses 8 GB of RAM, 512 GB of storage, solid-state drive, and it uses 14-inch Full HD panel. There is a Lenovo sticker as a seal. After crossing that, you will be able to take out the main laptop. This laptop, although it is 1.5 kilograms, but it feels just good on hand. The grip is fantastic. You will not easily lose it. Even now, we have a plastic wrapping. There is another level of seal at the plastic wrapping. It comes with a Chinese manual and warranty card. The charger is exactly the same as the Lenovo USB Type-C charger. There is no ThinkPad logo, which is really a shame. This laptop is fully black and it looks very beautiful on hand. This type of deep black is not something we can see every day nowadays. The front panel is full metal and so is the back panel. It feels very cold on hand and very premium. There is a Lenovo logo with a ThinkPad logo. All these fonts feels very tiny. There's no too much stickers on this laptop, and this makes the laptop, even the entry seals, feels more premium. There are two speakers opening at the left and right side. It looks pretty small. On the one side, there is one black charging port in USB Type-C, one USB-A port, one HDMI port, one headphone jack, a 3.5mm headphone jack. On the other side, unfortunately, we only get one Kingston lock port, one RJ45 internet port, and another USB-A port. It's really a shame that we are not able to see additional ports on this side. Lenovo definitely can work a bit harder to provide some more ports. You cannot use one hand to open the lid. The full design is just very comfortable ThinkPad design. Basically the design of laptop. There is a webcam at the top, which is fantastic for current working from home usage if you are still working or got a job. The power button does not reside in the keyboard, which is really fantastic. There is a red hat in the center of the keyboard. The trackpad looks exactly the same as any high-end ThinkPad trackpads, although it's pretty soft on this type of entry-level models. Anyway, you still got the same design and the overall feel of a high-end ThinkPad in this entry-level laptop. It's still much better than entry-level laptop from most other manufacturers such as Asus, Lenovo, or Dell. The feel of typing is definitely above average a lot. We have set up the laptop. Wow, the power button feels not good. It's very plasticky. It doesn't feel like there is cushion in the bottom. The screen actually looks better than expectation. Always Lenovo ThinkPad will give you a default panel with just 45% NTSC gamut, but it's much better generally than the same offer from HP, Dell, or Asus, which generally feels very dim, less contrasty, and less colorful. This one is definitely the top notch in the 45% NTSC screen, and it's even better than some of the high color gamma screen I have ever seen. Let's now open one YouTube video to check out the sound and display quality.
Our next guest, all she was trying to do was catch a train in the London Tube, and now she is one of the hottest videos on internet. Here's why.
Finish the lyrics. Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world?
Or do you need more?
Wow.
Keep
going.
Keeping so hardcore.
Wow, you're really good. Keep going.
I'm off the deep end. What?
England, please welcome Charlotte Aubrey.
Tell me something more. Aren't you tired trying to fill that void? Or do you need more? Ain't it hard keeping so hardcore? I'm falling.
The screen quality is, while not comparable to any MacBook or most of the high color gamma screens, but it's definitely more than usable. And if you are like most people in the office, not very strict on the color of the screen, then it fits you perfectly. The sound quality is just impressive. It's almost the number one I have ever tested. It even outperforms the previous Lenovo Yoga C940, which I have tested. It's just fantastic. The sound loudness is almost amazing, just 50% of the sound volume, and it's louder than most of laptops in 100 range. Open IDA 64 to check out the specifications. The processor is from AMD Ryzen 5 4600U, 6 cores, 12 threads. It has 8 GB on board DDR4 RAM, single channel. There is another RAM slot. You can expand up to a total 40 GB of memory with a 32 GB RAM stick. Its integrated graphics, along with R5, is a Vega 6, RX Vega 6, sorry, let me correct myself, with 38.4 shaders. There is a 45 watt-hour battery. It's not a very large battery. Although the battery is not amazing, it's still large, and the discharge rate is very low, just 4 watts below. You can expect to use 10 hours plus either lifetime, which is much better than average. The screen is actually from AUO, Taiwan. It has 250 nits, 45% NTSC color gamut, with a 700 contrast ratio. The specs looks just wow on the paper, but it feels much better than similar panels of the same spec. This is definitely the A++ panels in the same specs. I like it, like the frankness of ThinkPad. The solid-state drive is from West Digital SM530. It's a blue drive from West Digital NVMe drive. Speed is decent. Later, let us run some benchmarks on this new type of solid-state drive. While generally we see from Lenovo, it uses Samsung drives or West Digital black drives. The internet is unfortunately from Realtek, this crap brand. It's generally slower and less steadier than any Intel Wi-Fi or Qualcomm Wi-Fi. If you have any Wi-Fi mesh network at home, just online, buy an Intel AX200 Wi-Fi 6 card so that you can have better Wi-Fi experience. We did some benchmark on this laptop. Let us first go to the Cinebench R15. The CPU only goes to 800 to 900 CB. This is very decent if you compare to any Intel R5 or i5 or i7, but it's much lower than the average benchmark of this central processing unit, which is 1200. The single core score, however, is good. The OpenGL performance is basically below any of the same processor. Well, there's nothing to blame, as this laptop is for work, not for productivity probably. The speed of the RAM is fantastic and the latency is very low. This probably explains why the response rate of this laptop is just fantastic. The ASSD benchmark score is also very good. Take note that we are running a 10GB version, not just 1GB as everybody else do. 10GB is mostly enough when you use it for daily work. The final score is approaching 2K and everything is very fast about the solid-state drive, if you do not consider the more premium solid-state drives. Currently in idle range, the CPU power envelope, the power is very low, just 1 watts, and the temperature is just 40 Celsius degree. We now start a CPU benchmark or CPU stress test. After a few seconds, the power stabilizes at 12 watts and the frequency stabilizes at 2.4 GHz. The temperature is very low, even below 60 Celsius degree. Let us go back approximately 10 minutes later. By the way, there's no FM+Q performance mode, which is common from any Chinese Lenovo laptop. After 10 minutes of stability test, not really after 10 minutes, it's very interesting that the CPU power envelope goes to 28 watts. It spent quite many time to go to a higher envelope, and the frequency is now 3.2 GHz, pretty good. The downside is that the temperature is now beyond the limit of the processor allowance, and just a few minutes later, probably you can see that the total system overheat and the CPU frequency will drop probably to 1 to 2 GHz. This is not really good. Hopefully, Lenovo can come out some new BIOS or software upgrade to find an optimum balance between the performance, temperature, and the power consumption. It's definitely not good for this release. Let us include the GPU altogether, and you'll find that the GPU frequency is very high, approximately 1 GHz, 60% of the total envelope, and CPU frequency is also very high, 3 GHz plus. This is almost amazing. There is 28 watt power envelope, and the temperature is very high. We can generally expect that this type of performance cannot extend very long. And when you're playing games, it's not a big problem probably if your game is not really stressing. But after a few minutes, or after just a few seconds of intensive gaming, you definitely will go back to a lower power envelope, and the CPU will be minimized to 2 GHz, and GPU will also be minimized to a few hundred megahertz with a 12 watt total power envelope. This is not a frustrating news. Anyway, it's a ThinkPad, not a Legion or Alienware or Rock laptop for gaming. Overall, this lab performance is definitely good enough for everyday working, for Word, for photo editing, for general video editing. Unless you're processing RAW, this is generally good enough. In case you're buying this laptop, you definitely want to go to have 16 GB of RAM or even larger. 8 GB of RAM is type of small and not really good paired for this very powerful processor. This is a very good choice if you're looking for a working from home or general display laptop. This one feels very professional, very mature on hand. The new ThinkPad E14 basically is a redesigned version of E490, E480, or etc. with a new AMD processor it now becomes very affordable and very mature.